Welcome to Club Soda's Mindful Drinking Festival. We're online, global, and, as always, absolutely free. Hi, I'm Drew, and I'm one of the co-founders of Club Soda.
And I'm Laura, the other co-founder of Club Soda. We help you change your drinking in ways that help you live well. So whether you're looking to cut down, stop for a bit, or quit, you can find what you need from podcasts and books and courses on joinclubsoda.com. This festival, we've brought you an amazing lineup from over 100 people from across the world.
And our programme this time really is global.
Every day starts down under with me, Sarah. As well as organising the festival in Australia, I spend my time looking for alcohol-free alternatives and tips for people who choose not to drink, but who still want to live a social, fun and adventurous life.
And I'll be wrapping up each day here in the States. I'm Amanda, your US festival host and coordinator, and I'm also a mindset coach who helps women change their relationship with alcohol so that they can start living their most authentic life.
Each day with a rolling programme of inspirational panels, conversations, social events, and opportunities to discover new low and low alcohol drinks.
So whether you want inspiration to change your drinking,
Or to connect with other people,
or you want to discover and enjoy a new low and no alcohol drink,
The Mindful Drinking Festival is for you.
cheers!
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 cheers.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good. I want to say cheers with all of you saying cheers on that video.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, everyone, and everyone watching as well. Welcome to this session on the winners of Imbibe's No and Low Taste Awards. I'm Imbibe Deputy Editor Millie Milliken, and I am joined by some of the wonderful judges of this year's competition, which is also the first year that we ran this competition. Hi, guys. If you wouldn't mind maybe introducing yourselves to everyone so they know a bit about your work and what you do, that would be fantastic. So, Christine, should we start with you?
Yeah, I'm Christine Parkinson, one half of the Brimful Drinks consultancy. Our passion really is no and low alcohol drinks and just making them great and finding great ways to get them in front of people. So that's, but my background is wine, but I have to say this is more fun.
Perfect. And Laura, what about you? I don't think you really need to introduce.
Well, no, so I'm Laura. I run Club Soda, and I guess I see myself as the voice of the consumer on this panel because I'm in very esteemed company with Christine and Camille. So I definitely am here rooting for all of you guys who go to the pubs and bars and want something exciting to drink.
Awesome. And Camille, you're no stranger to panels and sort of TV formats. Would you like to just introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Camille Vidal, the founder of La Maison Wellness. I have spent my entire career in the hospitality industry, and I've been really focusing in the past few years on creating mindful cocktails. So really showing that tasty doesn't have to be boozy and that we can make delicious cocktail with this incredible product that we have in the no and low category these days.
Awesome. Well, just for anyone who isn't aware of the competition, we had over 150 products entered into our first competition, which is in itself a phenomenal showcase of just how many products there are out there. These guys blind tasted all of them in flights and managed to somehow whittle it down to, I think it's around 17 winners and also quite a few highly commended as well. So we thought it would be great if we ran through all of the winners and all the highly commended, talk you through the product, some of our tasting notes, and also have a few comments and discussions along the way. So let's get started, guys. So first up, the winner of Best No and Low Beer overall is Big Drop Brewing Company Woodcutter Brown Ale.
Wait a minute, I've got it. Wait a minute, it's here.
I might have drunk it already.
I've got 2 stouts. I must have left it in the fridge. That's no good.
I've got it, but I won't have it for long.
I know. I was looking forward to this one. Hold on.
So Christine, do you want to get started maybe just talking us through the product, maybe why it won and some of the tasting notes? That'd be great. Thank you.
Well, I think the thing about this and, you know, all of the other beers that have won awards in this competition is that I think most people wouldn't know that it wasn't alcoholic. It's got it's got so much flavour, just bursts with flavour. It's refreshing, it's balanced, and it's just got this really lovely kind of nutty, dry, beautiful character. Cheers.
And I was never a beer drinker when I was drinking. So I've only ever drunk beer as an alcohol-free product. And so I'm quite fussy on my beers because I don't always like a beery taste. And this one I really like because it's a bit caramelly. It's got some sweet little notes at the back, which makes it a really sort of like pleasant experience.
Amazing, absolutely. And I think that what we were saying when we tried all the different beer, and the reason why we loved that one so much is because it was kind of like that beer that could please everyone. It's if you love dark beer, you would love this one. If you want something that is refreshing, if you're more of a lighter person, of a paler person, you would still love that product because it has this like complexity and that like density of a dark beer with the lightness and the really like refreshing, that like amazing first sip of a cold beer that is very satisfying kind of feel.
And I think what's interesting is because I don't know a lot about beer, so the fact that this was in another category of things that there aren't so many of, like stouts and this is a brown ale. What's really interesting is actually they're some of the most interesting in the alcohol-free space, the stouts and the brown ales. And so somehow next year we're going to have to work out how we do categories for the beers that. Because to stack this against a stout, stack it against something else doesn't seem quite right, to be honest. So.
Yeah. I think as well when we were doing the flights, it was because it's the first time we'd done it as well. It was a really interesting experience to kind of work out who we were going to flight against each other. So it's just testament to how many amazing products there are out there.
Oh, yeah. Beer is a really good part of the no and low space. There's just so much choice and such good quality. I think it's really, was one of the stars of all of the judging was the beer categories overall.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was about to say, Christine. I think that like the beer category itself has done so good for the no and low movement. I think that like they are really like have been creating incredible product that, as you were saying at the beginning, Christine, like I'm pretty sure that like most of the beer that we tried, if we were blind testing other people, consumer and bartender, most of them wouldn't realize that they were alcohol free. And I think that's the beauty of it, is being able to create something that is so delicious and pleasing, and that has the same occasion, but also very similar and definitely in terms of quality, similar quality than like what you normally, if you drink alcohol, is used to. That makes the category really exciting.
And what I would say is, because often, in this space, a lot of women tend to drink less beer and tend to have been on the wine, particularly women in my age group. And what I'd say is take some time and get used to the taste. Trust me, you've got used to the taste of alcohol. Get used to the taste, because this opens up your options when you're out. It's low calorie, sugar-free, all the beers, and like a bottle like this, so this is, we can come on to, like you're saying, it's a lager in a minute, you can share it on a meal. It's a really nice, because often if you're not drinking alcohol, a whole bottle of wine between two if you're not drinking is actually quite a lot of alcohol-free wine. An alcohol-free beer is really easy to share, and you can try different beers with different courses. And so suddenly this has opened up options, but also for meals, it suddenly becomes a really good a good accompaniment. And so I think people need to open their minds to where this fits into their diet.
Absolutely. And I think, as you were saying, Laura, like when we were judging, there was so many in the others category as well, because I do think that like the beer category and the brewer are being really, really creative in like pushing the boundaries of like, there's even like wine in the market that are like they all like beers that are flavored with wine and things like, so there is loads of different type of beers and loads of different style of beers. So I think that it's really doing a little bit of like research, which is fun, and tasting, which is even more fun, on finding out like what do you like. And if you still don't think that you like beer, then you can come to La Maison Wellness and I will show you how to make it into a cocktail that tastes absolutely delicious and that will make you love beer forever.
I was saying people that using a lager in a summer cup recipe, that's one of my favorite recipes of yours, because it involves a number of small bottles. You can replace it with different things that are in the supermarket without needing to buy a big bottle of spirits. So as a base for a summer cup, cocktail, any of those things.
So that's the perfect segue, Laura, to move on to the best no and low lager. So that was won by Lucky Saint, and very closely followed by the highly commended, which is the Stella Artois. So talk us through Lucky Saint. This is something that I have seen before, but I hadn't tried until this competition. And I had a bottle of this at a friend's Zoom birthday on Monday night. I didn't want to drink, so I had this instead, and it was just absolutely perfect. It's such a great lager. I love it.
It's got a beautiful biscuity smell on the nose. It's beautiful on the nose. Look at me, sound like I know what I'm on about.
And I think that like Lucky Saint really has this like, it's, I mean, a lager, and again, you know, like a cold lager on a day like today in London when it's like 35 degrees outside, you know, like it's exactly what you want for your like end of the day aperitif for your drink, you like, and wine. And this is like, I really like both, but I also think that like Lucky Saint has a bit more body. And that's something that like it's quite interesting to have something that is so refreshing and so easy to sip on, like Lucky Saint, but that also has like a really nice finish and quite a bit more of a backbone, because as you were saying, Laura, then it's really easy to pair with food because it will cut through the food that you're having and really complement the flavor of your food.
It's got a really nice body.
Yeah, I was so struck, you know, I mean, really, there's no reason why every pub in the country shouldn't have this and, you know, the other beers in stock. I mean, it looks great. It's got nothing you wouldn't want in it, just water, barley, yeast, hops. You feel more like you're drinking a craft lager than you're drinking some kind of, you know, product that's been messed around with. You know, it feels very natural, very fresh, and definitely just go into a pub and have a lager. This would fit the bill perfectly.
And that's the same with the Stella, really. It's getting a lot of love in our community because people are excited to find a beer that they recognise with the same flavour profile in their supermarket, to be able to get on with that. So I'm really pleased that something that's a little bit more widely available in the supermarkets is also now beginning to hit the shelves. And that's a new offering there. The guy who delivered it, did you get the delivery guy who just couldn't believe he was delivering one bottle of alcohol-free beer?
He's like, here you go.
I've got this. It was quite amusing, as if somehow we'd won a booby prize and it was some great big joke.
Perfect. Moving on to the next one.
Big drop.
Big drop. Yeah, these guys really cleaned up in these awards, and these guys won. Best no and low.
Just stop it.
It's a bit much.
Everything.
And this is a pale ale.
They've rebranded again, and their cans are beautiful, and these are absolutely beautiful. Bearing in mind, you know, we tasted Rob's first test batches before he even got into full production. So, you know, I feel sort of, you know, emotionally attached to Big Drop in some ways, but they really are really pushing everyone else to up their game, aren't they?
They're so good. I mean, they really, I love them. I love what they do. If I remember right, also that one is gluten-free, which makes me really happy. And it's just so delicious. It is gluten-free. And I mean, it's packed in my fridge. I actually just did a collaboration with them and created a cocktail with mother root as like a shandy that is super refreshing. So it's mother root, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of honey, and just top up with that. And it's so beautiful. I really think that like again, you know, Big Drop is an amazing example of how crafted quality and creativity they are putting in each and every of their bottle. I think they're doing so great.
And that's the same. When we did the Orchard List at Hakkasan, this pale ale, this was the beer that we put on, and at the time it was head and shoulders above everything else. So the really great thing is there are lots of really good beers now, as we said at the beginning, but this is still really shining. It's just a terrific drink.
And each time they're making them, you know, they're working on making things gluten-free and all of those sort of stuff. So yeah, and it was the same with Coast. Actually, the Coast didn't arrive in time, but you know that they've been putting a lot of effort. They're very proud of their alcohol-free beer, and rightly so. It tastes really good, the pale ale. All of their beers have been going down a storm on the Club Soda community as well. So again, a really nice offering from, you know, a Scottish brewery that not have put equal amounts of love into their beer. So that's awesome.
And it's nice to be able to support, you know, smaller brewery, local brewery. Like, I think we do have so many incredible breweries here in the UK that it's nice to be able to support them as well.
Yeah, and now this is Welsh. This is a Welsh beer.
So this is the winner of our No and Low IPA. It's the Drop Bear beer, which is a bit of a tongue twister. The tropical IPA, and the hit of mango
and pineapple mango-y.
Yeah,
it just made it more distinctive than some of the others that we had in there. But I mean, it was a really highly contested field on these in the IPAs. Again, a really good crop of beers. But the guys who make this are lovely, Sarah and Joelle. They're doing the Queers Without Beers breakfast tomorrow morning, if anybody wants to meet them. And so far, they're not quite Wales's only alcohol-free brewer anymore, but they were for a short while. They were the only beer. I think there's now.
Watch this space.
Yeah. So yeah. But again, if you really like some of those tropical notes coming through,
yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. And Camille, is this something that would work well in a cocktail as well? Because I can imagine the notes in it are really exciting to play around with.
Exactly. I think that like IPA is one of my favorite beer to introduce in cocktail, because it has this like beautiful acidity, this really kind of like funky taste a little bit that add like complexity and density to the cocktail. But also this one, because as we were mentioning, you know, there's more this like tropical notes, like you can really play around with this in a cocktail and create some beautiful mindful cocktails.
Cool. It's also quite food friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's also quite food friendly because of that acidity. It's good stuff.
Whereas this one is chocolate friendly.
It's wonderful.
Oh my god!
I love stout. So this is the winner of. This is really, really, really good. This was highly commended in the No and Low Other Beer Style. The winner was the Woodcutter Brown Ale. But this
they got first and highly commended.
Yeah.
Right. I can't believe I'm here talking about how much I like a beer. 8 years ago, I'd have laughed at you. But you know, this with some dark chocolate is just like, you know, you don't have to move off the sofa. It's awesome. Or dessert.
And again, it's quite interesting to have something that like feels quite like indulgent and quite like, I will say that this is maybe like your last beer of the evening or something that you can almost have like as a nightcap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really nice to be able to like pair it with food, like to have it, as you were saying, with just like dark chocolate, and that just feels like it's a perfect like dessert or beautiful way to end the night.
Yeah.
And that's it's interesting because small beer was then the winner of the best low alcohol beer, and I think the really interesting thing for us. So, what can you remember what percentage that is? It's
2.1.
2.1. I don't have the bottle here. So it's a 2.1%. And what we found was it was getting really difficult to compare the alcohol free with one that had a little bit of alcohol in it. But small beer is still the only ones really pushing a table beer, a low alcohol beer onto the market that tastes really, really good. So at the minute, they're sort of standing in a category all on their own, almost.
I think this is a fantastic product. It's so premium looking as well. I just think this is the perfect thing to have on a table, say, at a restaurant. I can imagine, Christine, this is something that would work brilliantly as a sort of a pairing lager as well.
Yeah, it totally would. And also, you know, it's gluten-free and it's vegan, which a lot of people want. And it ticks every box. As you say, it looks terrific. It's a really nice bottle and it's a really good drink. So very, very food-friendly, but very easy just to sit and drink.
Yeah, and if you're moderating your drinking, if you think about it, then, you know, if you're, you know, most beers are 4, 5, some up to 6%. This is, you know, a fraction of that, which means that you can, you know, make the most of your evening without falling over or eating a kebab at the end.
I had one last night. straight after work. I just
A kebab?
Not a kebab, no. I wish, no. And it was just like you say, I didn't really want to drink too much, but I fancied a little bit of something, so I had this, and it did the job. Definitely, it was absolutely delicious. So
I think also that, like, as you were saying, like moderation, that's something that, like, we, you know, I feel like that the no and low category is expanding, and the mindful drinking movement, it is growing. And I think a lot of people think that, like, becoming a mindful drinker means being sober. And I love that, like, you know, I love what Small Beer is doing, because it's also giving an opportunity for people that wants to, like, still have a beer that is alcoholic, but have something that is lighter, that for people that are a bit more aware, a bit more conscious of what they put in their body. And I think that is good to see that, like, you know, there is, like, more low ABV beer. And I hope that, like, in the spirits category, we will see more of that as well, you know, more of, like, spirit that will be lower proof, rather than just going from, like, high proof to then non-alcoholic. And I think that there is more to do in that space of the low ABV for sure.
I've already cracked open cider, by the way, guys. I couldn't wait.
So, Trusty Thatchers are the winner of our No and Low cider. I love the Thatchers.
Thank you. As a Somerset girl, it's always good to see a Somerset product, but I was also a cider drinker. So this, I think, is the hardest category to crack, and is still really in its infancy. There's a lot of challenges for you all cider makers. I need a scrumpy, but this one's great because a lot tend to be on the fruity, a lot in the alcohol-free space tend to be on the fruity side and on the very sweet side. And I fully appreciate my taste of cider, even when I was drinking, weren't the same as everyone else's. But this one smells of apples, but isn't too sweet. And so it gives it, it's a really nice, and today, you know, a really cool cider.
Perfect.
And it has a bit more complexity. I think that, like, when we did the tasting, a lot of the product were just like fizzy apple, you know, I mean, I'm exaggerating here to make a point, but I think that, like, it was nice to have something that, like, has, you know, that was, like, drying out, that has more complexity, and that felt like something that was more sophisticated and elaborated than just like a non-alcoholic apple juice, fizzy apple juice.
And that's the challenge, really. It's whenever I speak to people about cider, they all go, you know, that's just apple juice. I'm like, no, that you need, there needs to be more acidic notes. There needs to be something more to it. I don't know what, but, you know, that's for you to work out. And it's getting there.
Yeah. I think it's the same as the sort of Stella as well, you know, it's that recognizable product as well. And it's great to have that entry level sort of really accessible brand that's obviously doing a fantastic job. Christine, did you want to mention something?
No.
Agreed.
we just took all your words away. Sorry, Christine.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we left enough time, because I know that you and Camille will have lots to say about the spirits and the things coming up next. So
yeah. Next up, we have best no and low kombucha shrub or fermented drink, and it is the Mother Root Ginger Switchel. I have been drinking this every morning since it delivered. A nice shot of it, and then having it long with some sparkling water. It is absolutely delicious. Camille, do you want to maybe introduce everyone?
Explain. I can't even explain it.
I mean, it's so good. And as I was saying, I just did a recipe with it, mixing it with the pale ale from Big Drop on non-alcoholic. But I think so. It's so exciting to bring this old American recipe, the Switchel, and to really reintroduce it to people, and how good it is, and how good it is for your body, but also how delicious it tastes, and how you can just, as you were saying, have it with, like, you know, sparkling water. So for the people that are not really familiar with it, it is ginger pressed with organic honey and apple cider vinegar. So you get really the fiery of, like, the ginger, you get the sweetness from the beautiful honey, and then you get the acidity, but also the the intensity, let's say, of the apple cider vinegar, which makes it like when you just top it up with soda water, it's just so sharp and so beautiful and so complex. And then I absolutely love mixing it in cocktail. I think that like that in the spritz is amazing. That, you know, mixed with just a bit of like you know, oranges or lemon, and then top up with soda water is just so beautiful.
It's last night on the session we did last time, we were talking about drinks. People saying, well, you know, there's so many complicated things in cocktails, I can't make them at home. But having this in the fridge would probably be your base ingredient for absolutely tons of different cocktails, and that begins to make it easy. And it's again a good natural product.
Yeah.
I think, Camille, you did a really good job of describing and explaining what it is. And I think, you know, when we were with beers and cider, it's very easy for people to understand, okay, it's something I'm familiar with, but it doesn't have alcohol in it. But people have no idea what a switchel is, how it tastes. And I think one of the whole things about this no and low space is that it's really worth experimenting and trying types of drink, even if you don't really know what they are, because odd as it might sound, you might not think that a drink with ginger and with cider vinegar in it would be food friendly, but I've tried it with quite a few dishes, and it really likes big savoury dishes, you know, sort of lentils or meat dishes, that kind of thing, and you just wouldn't expect that. And so I think part of these awards is getting people to think, okay, well, it's won an award, so I'll try it. It's something worth trying.
And it's the fact that these fermented drinks are coming out of the health food shop into the bar space. So I know you just picked up the agua. I always say it wrong. Who can say it right?
Agua de Madre.
Agua de Madre.
This is the highly commended in this section.
And again, this is a kefir, right?
Yeah.
I'm right, aren't I? Get it right.
You are. It's a kefir. What a kefir! I have to say, like, I'm a huge kombucha fan. Anything fermented, I'm in. I love it. And water kefir is something that, like, I've really been like struggling to find one that I would like, you know, to really understand what was the fuss around water kefir and why. Yeah, I understand that it's good, that it's packed with like good probiotic, that is good for your gut health, but like to really understand in terms of flavor, it was a bit of a, ooh, this is sour, this is intense. And then when I tried this one, I was like, okay, I get it now. Like, I think this is really, really refined. It's really beautiful. It has this like creamy, beautiful flavor of it, which is, it's not creamy, but you know, it's like this like really buttery flavor almost from the fermented of the kefir, but like made in such a beautiful, refined way that like it's the same with kombucha, and we'll talk about kombucha in a bit. There's like some that are not brewed in a way that is really allowing the flavor to come out and the balance to be there. But this is like hands down my favorite water kefir that I've tried.
And it's just so people know, it's 1.2%, but if you can lengthen it, and that will bring its ABV right down. So you know, some of the lower ABV ones, mixing them, lengthening them, helps bring that down. But yeah, this is just amazing.
Yeah, and then lengthening with the sparkling water.
Yeah, this is the first of two drinks that we've got here today, which really do have something in common with sparkling wine. And okay, I know champagne, it sounds a bit far-fetched, but the thing about champagne is that you can really taste fermentation, whereas something like Prosecco you can't. And this, together with the kombucha that we're coming to, you have that sense of fermentation, and it brings so much complexity and the texture that Camille was talking about. And I think it makes them really interesting drinks to have, you know, by themselves or with food, but very sophisticated, very complex drinks.
I was just going to answer a question that's come up, if you don't mind, Millie, which is about can you find these products in the US? So these ones here are mainly UK-based ones. It was a UK-based competition. If you go to the Mindful Drinking Festival website, mindfuldrinkingfestival.com, you will see lots of American brands there as well. And some of them are doing very similar stuff. So we're about to talk about a kombucha that's put itself in the wine space. There are some spirits in there. Go and have a look there. So these exact brands aren't necessarily in the States yet, We'll tell you which ones are as we go through. So actually the big drops you can get in Canada now, and I know that they have their eyes on America, so they'll be coming to you soon. So they're definitely available. And the Liars, which we'll come to, will be there. So there are equivalents coming, and this is all coming your way. We're like trial run for the States, basically. That's what's happening.
I'm very happy guinea pigs.
Yeah.
I'm also happy to recommend some product in the US because I do quite a lot of work there. So like kombucha that I really like that are in the US, water kefir that are in the US and stuff. So I can do some recommendation after as well.
Yeah, you can go on afterwards, Camille, and put something in the comments. That came through on the Facebook page. So, and there's loads of American brands on the festival website. They've joined the festival, which is awesome. Now,
moving on to the best no and low wine or wine alternative. Christina, it'd be fantastic to hear your thoughts on the wine alternative category as a whole, but we had 2 winners in this section, and that was the Real Kombucha Royal Flush, which we were just talking about, and we also had the 9 Elms number 18. So Christine, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off, as you are the wine expert.
Well, this is such an interesting category because, yes, there is de-alcoholized wine, some of which is very good, but it's actually a lot harder to produce a good de-alcoholized wine, I think, than it is a beer or a cider. And I think people are used to lots of flavors, a lot of character, and a lot of different styles with wine. And actually what's happening is there are alternatives coming in which do the job of wine. And both of these, in completely different ways, do that. So the real kombucha is, I mean, it comes packaged, I've taken the top off, it comes packaged like a champagne. And, in a restaurant, a sommelier would serve it exactly the same way as a champagne. And it's got everything, it's got the beautiful mousse, it's got the wonderful flavors. And I'm sure somebody will say it if I don't, but there's a lot of different styles of kombucha. And one of the things about this is that it doesn't have flavors added. It's about the flavor of the tea that it's being made with, which makes it incredibly elegant, which is something you look for in wine. And then the kind of opposite end of the spectrum is the 9 Elms, number 18, with its amazing bottle, which can't reach, so one of you can hold it up. And that's a completely different thing. That's a Velven. That's kind of extracts of fruits and herbs and spices. And it does the kind of job that a wine drinker would expect a Rioja to do, perhaps. It's kind of rich and flavoursome, but it comes from a completely different place. So the thing about the drinks that won this category is they've got nothing to do with wine at all. And I think that's the space that's most interesting at the moment is these really unusual, new, innovative drinks that are doing what wine does. So you can still have a great experience of a sophisticated drink without having alcohol and without having wine.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, of course, there was a kombucha category, but the winner of the wine alternative category, one of the winners was a kombucha. In fact, there were lots of kombuchas who entered that category, and that just tells you that it's about the occasion and the experience, not hard definitions of where something belongs on the shelf in the supermarket.
Yeah. And I think that like yesterday, Laura, we were talking about like the importance of the glass that you serve what you're drinking in. And I think that like what is really showing is we don't really want to change the occasion. We don't really want to change the ritual around this wine occasion, but actually maybe we want to change what's in the glass, and buy this amazing product that will fulfill this like, occasion by, serving real kombucha in a beautiful champagne glass or in a beautiful coupette, or having nice ale in like a really nice wine glass. It is kind of giving you the same, sensation. And it's because it is so beautiful in terms of flavor that you feel really content, even though it's something that is different than wine.
Now, Camille, that means that you can explain where this fits into the grand scheme of things. Again, Absolutely amazing, but I don't know where it goes. What do you do with it?
So this one, our best low and low distilled drink, and it also won our best low and low aperitif. So this is a double award winner. So Camille, if you could just talk us through this product, it's fantastic.
I mean, I think this is the category that I'm the most excited about. You know, I think that for me, the aperitif category is expanding and really bring some amazing product into the market and into our glasses, you know, and because this is really what I've done in my career in the hospitality industry, was talking about the art of the aperitif, how to make a spritz cocktail, what was a spritz cocktail, why this cocktail was created, and a lot of the product that actually won an awards for the No and Low with Imbibe are this style of drink. So this is a bittersweet aperitif. It is made, you know, to be mixed either just with tonic water, or you can make it with like a non-alcoholic sparkling wine and some soda water as more like the traditional spritz recipe. But it's really going to give you that bitterness, that's really beautiful bittersweet flavor that you want for an aperitif. Because for your aperitif, you want something that's going to be refreshing. You want something that's going to be bright flavor and cleanse your palate at the end of the day and kind of like wake you up. But also the bitterness will start working on activating your appetite and get you ready for dinner. So I think that like that category is really exciting. I think that Everleaf has done such an amazing job at combining this like bittersweet aperitif made with like really incredible botanicals and natural and being like sustainable and having a real purpose towards the environment with like conscious sourcing, etc. So beautiful product. You literally pour it in a wine glass, top it up with tonic water, throw an orange slice into it, and you can sit outside on a day like today and enjoy the sunshine. Or if it's a bad day in the UK, you feel like it's sunny. It's like sunshine in a glass.
And the other guys were Martini and Liar's Italian Orange, and these guys won highly commended as well. I mean, Martini, it's just fantastic to see these guys have a product in this space. It's such an iconic brand, and
it goes down well in this house, the Martini. So can make that long sort of spritz type drink. And same, if you've got the Liars. So it's a big bottle. I've got the wrong bottle here, but again, if you used to like an Aperol spritz, then these aperitifs, these citrusy aperitifs, I guess, fit into that mold for you. And
I will even say, like with this one, you can even tonic water is what's recommended, but even like the Liars, you can have it with soda water and just like an orange slice. I think what I love also about Martini is, because I worked with Martini for a long time, I remember like when I opened the bottle and I had a smell, it has this signature smell of the classic Martini. And I think it's really nice to have something that like, the blender at Martini have done such an amazing job at creating incredible, liqueurs and vermouths over the past 150 years. And I think that to put the same craft and the same passion in creating something that like feels like it's part of the portfolio, feels like it's inclusive, to make sure that like everyone can be part of the aperitivo occasion and have something that works for them. I love that, and I think that's beautiful to see such an established and iconic, brand and company put the effort into creating something like that. And let me tell you, because I know the back of the story, that this was hard to create. For them, they obviously have the standard of the other product that they have in their portfolio, and they wanted to create something that was as beautiful and delicious in quality than the rest. And I think they did a great job.
And they've done the same with this one as well.
Yes, so
American malt and the coffee. Yeah,
American malt. This was the best dark spirit, and then their coffee original won the best back bar product as well.
And that's the alcohol-free espresso martinis at the festival just went down in storms. This is what you want if that's what you want to make at home. You want their coffee liqueur. It's just amazing. And the fact that you can very easily recreate the drinks that you like at home if you have one of the Liars products is really good.
And I think that like what I like about this product for the trade is it's actually opening an opportunity and giving the trade an opportunity to not just go for non-alcoholic, but also to offer lower ABV content cocktail to their guests. And it might be that like, you know, someone wants an espresso martini and actually want an alcoholic version, but then you can remove the alcoholic coffee liqueur and plug that one in, which will reduce the content of your cocktail to have something that is a bit more mindful.
Yeah. I'm saying, you know, we're going to run out of time if we're not careful. I know Camille could talk about these for the whole time.
Well, next up we have No and Low White Spirit, which was won by Ginish of Ish Spirit, and the highly commended was Sea Arch Coastal Juniper. How did the White Spirit compare, do you think, to the dark spirits?
I think it's a much harder category. I think it's really difficult for the producers to make them work, and real credit to these producers, because these are dry, they're bone dry, and they haven't got alcohol. So the things which would carry the flavours and the texture aren't there. And I thought, so for instance, I thought this was incredibly impressive that you could have this product, you could have it with tonic, you could have it, Camille, I'm sure you do lots of cocktails with it. And it's got complexity and texture, and that's just, you know, a real achievement.
And I think that, like, you know, you mentioned having it with tonic water. I do think that, like, you know, it's a good way for those products and for any of like the alternative to gin, so like the botanical, non-alcoholic botanical spirit. It's a good way to really have the carbonation of your tonic to lift the flavor and help the flavor to carry through, and then the putting of like the bitterness of your tonic water to again really lift the flavor, because in those products obviously they're non-alcoholic, so as Christine was saying, you don't have the backbone and the strength of the alcohol that will really lift the botanicals. But I do think that just mixing it with tonic water will really allow the flavor to come through, and genies will be more like a citrus note side of it, and more like a really limey kind of like type of gin, when Sea Arch has a bit more, you know, they have like blood orange and samphire, so, and it has almost like a bit of a savory notes to it, which is also really interesting. So they kind of like really different, those two.
Yeah, I love this. It's got a little bit of sea saltiness about it, and it's for me, it's got a really good. It becomes an experience. That's that thing again, which is they're trying to put an experience of something there for you, and to give you a hint of, you know, memories and all of those things.
And it feels like you're on holiday all of a sudden. That like you're salty, like you're like, oh, I'm somewhere exotic, or on the coast somewhere. For sure. Is
it just worth talking about the British, because of course that's from Ginish as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So won the No Spritz Special Award. I think that's a canned drink as well. Yeah, you guys have got that. That looks absolutely fantastic. The colour in the glass is wonderful.
I'm quite excited because I always get annoyed at the stations when you can pick up a pre-canned gin and tonic, but you can't pick up something that's alcohol-free and a bit more adult. It's always a soft drinks. The fact that the ready-to-drinks are coming out in a can makes me quite excited.
Absolutely.
Are they in Holland and Barrett as well? Because I know Ginish is in Holland and Barrett.
They are, yeah. And it's nice to be, exactly as you said, it's nice to have something that will be, you know, this is like a non-alcoholic Aperol spritz, you know, just very much of a bittersweet orange flavor, and to have that as like something that like you can take with you when you go on the picnic or when you're on the go to go somewhere. So nice to see this category expanding for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And the final award is the Best No and Low New Wave Spirit, which went to Three Spirit Leidner, Three Spirit drinks. I haven't got a bottle with me, but Camille.
Who wants to describe what we mean by new wave? We had to make this whole category up for this competition, guys, because, you know, how do you compare something like Three Spirits, which is, you know, basically a herbal elixir, next to something like Sea Arch, which is clearly made to be a clear spirit? They're just not comparable. And so we went around in circles on this to go, well, what do we do? So we're calling it a new wave, because I guess in some ways this is mimicking something we already know around a gin and tonic and some of that stuff, whereas a 3 spirits is something totally different. And there's a few different drinks coming through in this category as well. So explain, Camille, come on.
I love it. I think, and actually, so 3 Spirit have 3 different expression. The social elixir is the first one that they launched, and then they launched the nightcap and the livener. I'm a big fan of the livener because it has this, you know, depth and complexity with, they also have chili, so there's like a spiciness to it, and it also has watermelon, so makes it like fruity and refreshing, and it's so beautiful. And again, you can just have that with soda, you can mix it with tonic water, you can add it into a spritz, garnish that with a slice of watermelon, and it's really refreshing. I think what I love about what those guys are doing, and more, as you said, Laura, more brands coming into that category, is instead of just giving an alternative to a spirits that you already know, they're creating an experience that will allow you to be able to have this, like, maybe what the reason why we drink. So for example, like, this is using botanicals but also adaptogens. So like, you know, a lot of people drink because they want to relax, a lot of people drink because they want to like take the edge off, etc. And this, you will get this like sensation with that, especially having like obviously not having the alcohol. And I think that's really interesting to like expand into this category on like what is in nature that can give us this delicious flavor, those functional benefits, and this really like some of the ingredients that you use are really uplifting, because, you know, sometimes when you have a drink is because you want to like have a bit more energy. So there's like some of the plants are quite high in caffeine to give you a little bit of like that boost of energy to like allow you to go on the dance floor. You know what I mean? And I think that's really interesting to like look into different ways of like creating a drink rather than just an alternative to what we already know.
Because I'm enjoying the nightcap at the minute, actually. I'm really loving that in the evening on the rocks. Nice get to sleep, drink.
I think it's just so amazing that this is a category which doesn't exist in an alcoholic version. So, you know, if you want to drink something of this style, you can only drink without alcohol. And that's the way it works. You know, I wonder how long it will be until there's an alcoholic copy of it, you know, and things go around full circle. But it's so
You're probably right.
Someone's rushing to make one now, I reckon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Oh, sorry, Laura, you want to carry on?
No, I was going to say there's just so much to try, and you should try.
Yeah, and I think it's a perfect showcase of just how many different products there are, but not only that, all the different flavor profiles and styles of drinks and occasions that you can have these drinks in. And I don't know about you, but once we leave, I'm going to be having my bottle of small beer lager, just as it's a Friday, treat myself.
I've already lost my beers, they've gone.
Well, thank you so much, guys. It's been fantastic to have your insight, and obviously thank you so much for being involved in Imbibe's first ever No and Low Taste Awards. It was a real education for us at Imbibe, and it was just great to be able to share that with you guys. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what sort of products we get through in the next competition next year, and hopefully we can do this again in real life next to each other.
Yes. It would make judging easier.
Definitely, I was boxing them up for you as well.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a lovely
Bye.